Thank you, everybody, for coming. This is more than I could possibly have wished for. It started yesterday. My wife, if you haven't met Tara here, has been one of my best friends going back to high school. She's known for 6 weeks that she was going to come out and to be here on this special day, and she managed to pull it off. And so it's been a wonderful, it was a wonderful surprise, and thank you very much for that. And my family, my brother, my brothers, my mom, my sister, my knucklehead sons. I thank you all for coming. And it really so forgive me, some of this I'm going to read forward, and I'll be quite honest, the reason is it's the way to keep me from completely breaking down in front of you. Sergeant Tran has witnessed it before. I'm a very emotional person, and sometimes it's not always screaming, sometimes it's actually so it really means a lot to me that I had the opportunity to express how much I appreciate and enjoy the time spent with you, whether that be subordinate, peer, or superior. I have always held as one of the deepest rooted beliefs that you should always express how much you value the people of the team or organization that you are departing, and is why I've always arranged. So why I've always arranged for events like this is that it's very important to me that every person that I've worked with, as whether it is peer, superior, or whatever it was, that they understood as I'm leaving how much they meant to me. In case I never said it before, that you know how much you meant to me. It wasn't a job. It's just what I am. So that this is not only me departing my second time here at Triple Nickel. I was here previously, 2008 to 2010. Went to Hawaii for 3 years, came back. So this is not only ending, a good almost another 2.5 years here in Triple Nickel. It's the end of a 20-year career, culminating. It's very difficult for me, but I'm excited about the opportunities that I know, and it's hitting me. What I'm leaving behind. I've always stressed that it's not intended to be the time that everyone says how great things Sergeant McCoy did, or how great Sergeant First Class McCoy is, but rather it is my opportunity to express wholly and sincerely how much each person that I've interacted with meant to me, and provide my last words of encouragement and development. As this will mark not only the end of my second tenure with the Triple Nickel, but my Army career as well, I'd like to request that you indulge me and appreciate your patience while listening to what is sure to be a bit lengthy monologue. I wish to address everyone that has made the last 20 years something very special. First off, the journey began 20 years ago when a young man, yes, I was young once, who achieved the first milestone of boyhood dream of being a professional engineer by graduating from college, obtaining a degree from civil engineering, was looking for a job. It was my parents who, after some difficulty with me finding a job, suggested that perhaps I would look in the military and gain some experience, and if not just experience, maybe even a career. While I think they often feared that they had made a mistake and worried about what they had set me up for, they've always been one of my biggest supporters. They could not be here. They're in Colorado. And I know that they're here in spirit. I talk to them all the time. But my other family is, and I appreciate you for making it. You've also been, every single one of them, the family, as we refer to it. Has always been there.
Once again, you can't get out.
That's right. They've always been there, and this is only a small representation of it. And of course, my lifelong friend, Tara. Thank you so much for coming. So my sister has also been a big supporter of me, and she made it very clear at the beginning that she didn't want me to join the military because she feared for the safety of her little brother. And I even remember, I don't know if she directly ran off the recruiter when he came. He definitely did not feel welcome when he came. She's only about 4'9", 10, but she was not very happy about her little brother going away to join the he wasn't joining no damn army, but I went away anyway. But she's remained very proud of me and my service. It sometimes but something tells me that she's breathing a little bit easier, knowing that I'm going to be taking off the uniform for the last time next week. Shortly into my career, I married my soulmate, and she has been there for this long ride, from specialist to sergeant first class, from Fort Benning to Carson, to Bragg, to Fort Lindenwood, back to Carson, to Fort Lewis, to Hawaii, and finally back to Fort Lewis. And it has not been an easy one. For every rotation to MTC, which, Alex, that's how you came about. So, after the marriage, after the wedding, it was after the wedding. Pinion Canyon, PTA, numerous field exercises, leadership schools. I did primarily leader PLDC, which is called, right here on Fort Lewis. Back in the heyday. Leaving her with a newly born Alex back in Fort Carson. And so I'm sure she's forgiven me for that. T-wise, and she's always been there and ensured that the household and family stayed afloat. And for that, I'm forever grateful and look forward to beginning our next chapter in our lives. The birth of my two sons, Alex and Hunter. Alex was born in Evans Army in Fort Carson in August 30th, 1999. Right? And Hunter was born in Fort Leonard Wood in 24 February 2003 in a blinding snowstorm, as I recall. So I'm missing that place. The birth of my son Hunter were both very special to me, and it was their pictures and the moments we shared that got me through the many times I found myself so far away from them. Alex did not know this, but there's a picture of him he was what, a year and a half, 2 years, and he's out on a playground. I was reclassing to 51 Tango at the time. He was just a little guy out in the cold. It wasn't snow on the ground, with this blue little cap with the flap ears, things that are around him. His big red cheeks out there, And I had that picture and I taped it on every desk that I moved to from every course that I went through for the 12, 14 weeks, 16 weeks of AIT. Just waiting to get home to him. Now I'm going to move back.
No, he's not.
Just kidding.
You can be home for your birthday, you know that.
The ability to provide for them both the stability to attend all years of high school was the great deciding factor of why I will be staying in Lacey, Washington upon my retirement. It's because of their sacrifices of dragging them around that they're going to finally be able to put down some roots. And I look forward to it. I really do. After so many PCS things with new starts, it gives me great joy to be able to provide roots and stability too. So, you're welcome. So, one of the earliest relationships that I established in the Army was with the Sergeant Major Kirk Carlton. I first met him as a Staff Sergeant Kirk Carlton, and he was the S3 Tech section leader in Fort Bragg in the 27th Engineer Battalion. And we deployed Kosovo, and we shared several other duty stations from Fort Leonard. He was here at Fort Lewis for several years. And of course, in the title, he recently was selected, went to Sergeant Major's Academy, and he's a Sergeant Major in the Army. He taught me the aspects of being a team and a squad leader, and in particular, property accountability. So that reputation of a hard ass when it comes to property books and inventories and things, you know exactly where that's coming from. It came straight from him. Our families also bonded, as we would often go over to their house and spend hours sharing memories and creating new ones. And it took me several years before I felt comfortable not calling him Sergeant. And every time I would go to his house, I would call him Sergeant Carlton, or just Sergeant. And I think it was Kathy. He told her if I called him Sergeant one more time in her house, she would slap me upside the head. So it took me a while. And so through the years of deployments and working together, I have come to hold him as one of my closest and dearest friends. And during a recent phone call, which happened while we were in Laredo, in fact, it probably should have been strange to hear a Sergeant Major say, "I love you, brother," and for me to say it back to him. But for me, it was natural, and it truly was heartfelt. During my time at Fort Linwood, I had the privilege of working for and with some great people. Two of them had a distinct and lasting impact on me, not only professionally, but personally as well. As an AIT instructor, I taught the automated survey course, and the chief for that was Carl Cummings. I think some of you may know Mr. Cummings. Carl was a very charismatic and passionate instructor. And it was from him that I derived my drive and my passion for the MOS, whether it be 51 Tango, 21 Tango, 12 Tango. It's been changed throughout the years. I looked up to him, and I strived to be as passionate as he was, and then tried to give every block of instruction I could. I had to fight him a lot of times. I had to fight him to do it, because he wouldn't give up the platform very often, unless you proved yourself. And we also developed a lifelong friendship. And when I PCS from Fort Linwood, myself, Sheila, and the boys, we actually stayed. We didn't stay in a hotel. We stayed with Carl and his wife Bambi at their house in Lebanon while we out processed. So he's also a very dear friend of mine. After moving on to the NCO Academy, I was an SDL for BNOC. They called it BNOC back then. Back in the 2000s. I know it's been a decade. But My supervisor was a Sergeant First Class Patrick Fight. Retired as a Master Sergeant Fight. From him I learned a very important aspect of leadership: compassion and empathy. And it was his rating as on a complete the record NCR and his tutelage on record review that enabled me to be selected for Sergeant First Class in my first look. He counseled me nearly every day, not on paper, but out in the smoke shed. Not smoking push-up, but smoke shed, break area, whether it be by a dumpster at the academy or out at Brown Hall. And I didn't smoke. I spent many hours of secondhand smoke. Just going out there every single day. You know, we would talk, and it wouldn't just be about the job; it would be about everything. It was a very special type of NCO that from him I knew he understood the fallacy of a human being, and that you always walked kind of a fine line between black and white. And it's your relationship with your peers and people that kind of keep you sane and down. And if you should stray into the black, as long as you make yourself back into the white, sometimes compassion in him was wrong. It was amazing. And if you look at the pictures of me in my last promotion, which was the last time, the last promotion I went through was 11 years ago. Let's say 11 years ago when I pinned on Star First Club. The two people that pinned on the rockers were Carl Cummings and Master Sergeant Club. They're the two that probably most directly had an impact with who I am and how I lead. And those of you that had the privilege of working with them and knowing them, it's been a real special. Both the 142nd Engineering Detachment and the Triple Nickel Engineer Brigade Survey and Design have been very special to me. It's the opportunity to develop strong technical sergeants and NCOs, team and squad leaders. Has been a very rewarding experience to me. So this one is kind of like, that's the last written part thing. I just got a lot of written items here before I can get up. So I've had a lot of time over the last few weeks to sit and think. And as you're coming to the end of your career, you have to think about what it means to be successful. What do you gauge success in? And for some, they may want to highlight the amazing accomplishments that they have done and take pride and glory on that. I am not one of those people. The things that, if you ever hear me talk, that bring me the biggest smile and the biggest joy are the success of those that I am developing and the organizations that I am a part of. And it's been a phenomenal string of both sergeants and staff sergeants that are out there. just to name a few. So we already know Sergeant Tran's story is like every place I've gone, I've always told the Sergeant Tran story. And I believe your name also, not name, but the story predecessor, because when I came here, when I first arrived back here in 2013, some of you were still here. I think I even said this story without mentioning the name. Again, that story I talked about, Mass Sergeant Fight, compassion and empathy and believing in somebody. This story is something that proved to even me. Somebody given a chance. It amazes me. And I cannot tell you how happy and proud I am to see who he was. As well as his beautiful wife, Margaret. Soon to be baby Tran.
Yes.
So, February, right? I'll be looking forward to that. But there's been others. Sergeant Broke, Sergeant Stensland, Sergeant Reek, Sergeant Humphrey, Sergeant Bolford, Staff Sergeant Clapp. Sergeant Clapp was a PV2 or PFC when I first met him here in Fort Lewis. He had made it through, he was a specialist when I left the first time, and while I was in Hawaii, he made sergeant. He came to the 142nd where he was a team leader and was developed, and I left there, and he made staff sergeant. Also, one of the close friend and biggest success stories that I know of right now. He's kind of following in my footsteps. He's the SGL for ALC and also teaching SLC in Fort Leonard. And I keep close tabs with him through Facebook and with his family and his kids. Staff Sergeant Trump Power, he's the team leader in 142nd. If you checked out the this last promotion list, he was selected for Sergeant First Class. So at least one or two of his NCOARs that we reviewed was the one I wrote for him, one of his team. So obviously there's some growing pride in that. Sergeant Langeman. Sergeant Langeman came to me as a team leader, eventually became squad leader. Is doing great things. Sergeant White, you know Sergeant Stephanie White. She was promoted up to sergeant, I mean staff sergeant as well. Sergeant Martinez. Gotta go get a kid. You gotta go. I understand.
I'm coming back though.
It'll be posted, so you can see it later. Staff Sergeant Singleton. Staff Sergeant Singleton. Again, PFC when I was here in the brigade, now Staff Sergeant in Hawaii. Staff Sergeant Benello, another one that came through the Triple Nickel. He's back here, stationed here on a JBLN, but he's in an ACRC slot. Staff Sergeant Hendricks, Sergeant Cardenas, Sergeant Pavlik, Sergeant Michelson, and Sergeant First Class Villa, who we are working with the AFRICOM project. He was one of my squad leaders when I was here and I left. Also made the list the year after the last NCO I wrote for him, for his selection. all of these have shown not only their success in the Army, that shows great pride in myself, and I know that I've developed them and given them the tools, but to see that they PCS and they've moved on, and that knowledge that I taught them, that I feel safe to know that I'm passing it on and it's keeping the MOS alive. It's not, look how great I am, but it's me, the love for the job that I do, and wanting to keep it and perpetuate it throughout the Army. So I've always wanted not only the organization to be the greatest in the Army of wherever I was at, but wherever they go, that they spread that and teach and show exactly what a tango can do. But it wasn't just in the military. Some of the other things that I take good pride in is that, as you know, I said, it's been a boyhood dream of mine to be a professional engineer. And long before I joined the Army, that was who I am. I didn't need the Army to tell me about professionalism and the profession of the soldier. I already had a profession, and that's being an engineer. And I taught that, and it was very important to me, and I tried to pass and instill that into every one of the soldiers that I met. So one of my greatest sense of accomplishment, and when I look back and I feel success, is when I'm on top of, I was in Folsom. I was on top of the project site in the van, and I got a call from a number in Idaho that I did not recognize, and I answered it, and it was from a company that was in Idaho that was looking to hire a Brian Brote, Sergeant Brote. He used my name as a reference. And he was applying for an internship or a draftsman design. It was because of my recommendation in my talk. The guy told me right there that, from what I told him, that we're going to hire him. He's obviously, even half of what you said is true. You know, he must be a fantastic person. And it was after that I found that not only him, but the other sergeant team leader from Hawaii, what was his first name? Kenneth Reed, were roommates, and were attending the University of Washington State University in Pullman, in engineering. So there was two soldiers that were not only highly successful in the military, but now were following in my footsteps and becoming engineers. Specialist Perez.
Really?
We know this. We know the story, right? So he's also a project manager for the municipality. Project manager one, entry level project manager position with the city. I forget which municipality in Florida. Again, out his interview, I know for a fact it was because of the experience and the experience and the opportunities that I helped. I'm not going to take all the accomplishment for it, because obviously he was very talented. He was very talented architect. But I feel very proud that I took an architect and made an engineer out of it. So, Specialist Taylor is another one who's pursuing an engineer degree. Sergeant Martinez, who just left, right before she left out, she was one of the first to go through the WASDOT material test. So some of you have got the chance to go through, and it's through that that she's gained a lot of opportunities that are out there. I know those things are success. Colby, so the success of not only in the Army, but the success of the soldiers in professional in the engineering is what brings me joy. The other part of that is, for some, and many NCOs, I know that they're very afraid of Facebook. Right? I embraced it kind of long back ago, and I'll admit that some of it may have been for reasons, I wouldn't say to spy, but to keep track of soldiers. That may have been. But truly, the reason that I do is it's been through Facebook that I've been able to witness and see the families, the impact of the families, and keep in touch with those soldiers. And to know that when you're a part of a military organization, that it's very much not just an individual, it's not an individual job, but it's a sacrifice, and the family is part of it, is very much as part of the team. And I have an album that I created just recently, where I started taking pictures of the children of my soldiers I've had. And fairly recently started, because where's the bag of lots?
Bags.
Bags. There he is.
Bring the child.
Bring the baby.
There he is. So he came in. You bring your son?
Not you, big kid. I don't want to see you.
Bring the sacrifice.
So
He's so loud.
he brought in this adorable little 1 year old, 13 months.
1 year.
I got a chance to hold him while he was on me. And as while holding him, I started thinking about how many babies have been born under the organization that I've been with. And I started counting. And there's been a lot. There's been a lot. And I think every warrant officer, Mr. Smith even kept the string alive. Every warrant officer I've served with ended up having another child sometime while I was serving with them.